Okay, welcome, Ash. Thank you so much for joining me on a testimonial call today. I'm so excited to introduce you. Ash is, oh God, we have such a beautiful, gorgeous relationship. Me as her coach, she works with me one-on-one. And one of my favorite fun facts about Ash is that she almost didn't get on a call with me because she was like, nah, I don't feel like I need anything. Like, I don't think I want to get into another coaching program. I'm already doing something right now. And we just decided to get on the call just to see, right? Like just to connect and see if maybe down the line, like we could work together or whatever. And by the end of that call, you were like, all right, I'm joining, let's go. And we've had just like together one of the most gorgeous coaching relationships. And I've seen you just like blossom and do these incredible things. So I am so excited to share your story or be part of sharing your story with others and seeing you go from like full freeze, right? For like years and like shut down to just like this glowing mentor in our community who now helps like new clients who are coming in and things like that. So obviously I can't say enough good things, Ash. I'm so happy you're here.
Thank you, Kate.
Of course, of course. And I will preface this as well by saying I'm just coming back from the flu. So if I have a lot of coughing and all of that stuff, just, ignore it or just, I don't know, put me on mute or something like that. Amazing. Well, we're going to keep it super chill. And I'm just so excited to talk about your experience. So, what I would love is if you could kick us off by just kind of like sharing a little bit more about yourself first, like not even where you were at and stuff, but just like who are you and what would you like people to know about who you are?
Wow. Well, in the process of discovering, like creating a new me, but who I was, I've just left a 12-year career, and I was in the yachting industry, so that was very like a fast-paced, um, demanding career,
Yeah.
and now I'm in this interesting transition where I want to start I want to be an entrepreneur. I want to be healthy and fit. So that's where I'm at right now.
Yeah, you're in that self-discovery phase. Absolutely. And I remember, your career was one of those jobs you had to travel a lot. It would be super kind of unexpected, right? And it would put so much stress on you. Like there wasn't good sleep. It was kind of like go, 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 and then, crash when you had time off. And a lot of times when women come to me, they talk about the roller coaster. And for a lot of women, that looks like 9 to 5, I'm go, 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 and then I crash in the evenings. For you, it would be like a week straight, go, 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 and then like
Yeah.
a week straight crash,
Hmm.
right? So you kind of came from this like extreme. And so part of your journey, I feel like, was realizing that that environment was no longer conducive to where you wanted to be. And that was such a kind of long, gorgeous journey that we can dig into a little bit further. But before we go there, why don't you talk to me about before we started working together? Kind of where you were. Like, what were your symptoms? What was your experience as it relates to your nervous system? How did you feel before we met and kind of started our work together?
Wow. I felt a lot of things. I would say I did not feel good at all. I was very dizzy. I would have dizzy spells, panic attacks, anxiety every day, gut issues, just super fast paced, like always like I was on caffeine, but I couldn't even drink caffeine.
Hmm.
Tired, but I was also wired.
Yes,
Yeah.
the word. Right. And I remember you struggling a lot with dissociation, right? Like you
Hmm.
would feel that
Hmm.
you kind of like numbed out a lot to your experience and weren't fully present, right?
Absolutely. That's the scariest part.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. And it really is for so many women because it feels like if I can't even feel my feelings, if I pull too far away from them when they're coming up, like how am I supposed to actually work through this, right? When you come into nervous system work, we kind of talk through like where you fall on the ladder, right? And we talk about polyvagal theory, and I'll drop a link below this video for people who are more interested in that. But you were all the way kind of down in that freeze. And you and I really shared a lot of similarities in our stories because I had hit a full dorsal vagal shutdown and you were in a really, deep point of freeze, maybe not fully shut down, like couldn't work yet, right? But kind of on your way there. And
Hmm.
so, I remember you talking to me about some of the stuff that you had tried or tried to explore to feel better. Can you share what some of that stuff was that frankly just like really didn't work and maybe some of why?
Um, I went to so many doctors. I went to a cardiologist. I got a brain MRI. I got blood work done. I went to a gastroenterologist,
Mm.
got a whole scan of my stomach. Um, and no one could really give me answers.
Mm.
They kept mentioning stress, but I didn't really understand how stress could do all of that.
Right.
And yeah, I would just come home and I would doom scroll or play video games, go to sleep. But I just could never just the distress of not knowing what was going on was debilitating. Like it paralyzed me. So I was just searching and searching for answers, you know?
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. And so that's that's the worst place, right? I just want to speak to that really quickly. When doctors are just telling you to stress less and you literally can't, right? And we treat it like it's this conscious decision. Like, oh, I'll just make the choice. Like how they always say the worst thing when you're in a fight with somebody is if they tell you to calm down because you're like, oh, I didn't think of that. Let me do that, right? Or like you're having
Yeah.
a panic attack and they're like, just chill, right? And it speaks so much to the fact that this is a physiological, biological reaction response when it comes to our nervous system being stuck in survival mode. And I feel like that was a really important realization for you, which was that it's not your fault. It's not that you're not trying hard enough. It's not that you don't want to feel better enough, right?
Mhm.
Speak to that a little bit. Speak to kind of how it felt to recognize that there could be something that was in some ways out of your control, as in like in your subconscious. So not that you weren't to blame, but also enough in your control that you could take steps to heal it. Do you know what I mean?
So like after we met.
Yeah. Why don't you speak a little bit to when we met and why you
Okay.
started working with me, and then we can go into that. It's a good idea.
Awesome. Okay, so I felt like I exhausted all of my options. So I found myself scrolling, on social media, and your page came up, one of your reels. And if I can remember right, it was just all these bullet points of symptoms. And I think every single one of them touched on all of the symptoms I was experiencing.
Mhm.
So that just sparked some hope in my heart. And, I came from a place of I'm not sure, um, because of my experience of going to all these doctors who I thought would have the answer, I was a little, what's the word? um, apprehensive.
Yes.
So, but you messaged me back right away. Like I messaged you and you were just super prompt and we set up a call and you just made me feel so comfortable.
Which you almost canceled. You were almost like, I don't know if I need to get on this
Uh,
call.
yeah, I just, it was so hard for me to
Of course.
trust again, you know?
Yes. And I want to talk to that, right? Because so
Yeah.
many people don't get on the call because you're already so overwhelmed. And then you have this
Hmm.
chick messaging you on Instagram, right? Like, I just think it's so brave. And so I want to speak to that, that you got on it, even though you were like, you even caveated, like, I'm probably not going to work with you, or at least like not right now. Is it
Hmm.
even worth it to get on a call? And I was like, yeah, let's just meet and talk regardless, right? And there was no pressure. And I think that that is so incredible when we are in survival mode. We don't trust people. We've been screwed over so many
Hmm.
times. And we go, okay, I'm going to give it a shot, and it kind of, it just speaks volumes to you and how committed you are to getting better and how much it wasn't your fault that you weren't getting better. You were willing to get on a call with a stranger to figure this stuff out, right?
Yeah.
Like,
Hmm.
so awesome. Okay, just had to celebrate that for a second. Keep going. So we got on the call.
Right off the bat, your confidence and just you being yourself, your full authentic self, just everything that I would tell you and what I was feeling, I wasn't sure, oh, will this be received because it hasn't been received in the past? And you just spoke on everything. Like, yes, just so confident. And I'm like, this is the first person that I've met through my whole medical journey that can look me in the eye and say this will help you. So
Mhm.
I just lit up inside and I was like, yes.
And what's really amazing is that it did, right? Like, because it is still scary. You see that confidence and you still go, and am I going to get scammed? Am I going to get screwed? Right?
Yeah. Mhm.
I think what's really cool, and I remember us speaking about this, is that I always say, like, man, you can question everything I bring to you because it is so rooted in science. It is so rooted in research. It is so rooted in other clients. It is not just me being like, I created this witchy, like whatever, and
Yeah.
it worked for me, so it must work for you. In fact, we actively make sure not to take a one size fits all approach. So we
Mhm.
touch on so many different things to support the nervous system. Can you talk to me a little bit about what were some of the practices, techniques, or even approaches, like even the way that I approached you as a coach, that really resonated with you specifically that helped along your journey? And I'm sure there's tons, but whatever comes to mind.
I think right off the bat, you living this experience and coming from that was huge for me,
Hmm.
because I felt understood,
Yeah.
and I could see it in you that you've been through this. Um, the other thing that was so important was, how busy my job was. Like I was just constantly on the go. We would talk here and there in the beginning, and I was warming up to the program and trying to adjust my schedule in a way which was so easy. It's just I think you have to get out of that mindset that trying to articulate this. It's one more thing on your plate, but it really wasn't. It's like this is the path to feeling better, healing. So I
Hmm.
was warming up from just like overworking this busyness to making time because this was the solution that I needed.
Yes.
So your patience through that part of the journey was everything to me. Like not feeling pressured, not feeling like there was more work, had to show up, I had to do a lot of things. I didn't have to do anything. Like just us checking in was everything to me and you supporting me through whatever time, whatever I was going through week after week,
Hmm.
and then that's what really helped me snowball into, wow, this really is all that she said it is, because like you
Yeah,
said, people are skeptical in the beginning and people have been scammed before.
totally.
People have gone to doctors and things don't work. They promise them stuff. So you showing up for me and us just speaking and you hearing, like just listening to me is what got me hooked. That's what got me in to
Yeah.
start doing the work that was really just resting, slowing down, um,
Listening to your
breathing,
body,
listening to
right?
my body. Yes, allowing myself to feel, which was the next step. That was like the next phase in my journey with you. And we
Hmm.
can talk more on that too if you'd like.
Yeah, I mean, yes, absolutely, because we have to get to that place where we can feel it. And when we feel it, it feels like we're going through fight flight because it's everything that we froze before, right? And
Hmm.
really quickly, I just want to say, I always say that there's no person I've ever met that could just jump right into doing the work, right? There's a reason we have avoided this work. There's a reason we've pushed these feelings down. So I'm like, here's the way to unlock and feel everything again. You're not going to be like, great, let's go. And so much of my job as a coach and why our program is like really like a year long, right? We have like 6 months of working with clients and then 6 months of aftercare and all this stuff, right? And you've been in obviously the program platform and all of that is because there's so much time that just goes into getting you to feel safe enough to even
Yeah.
embrace starting that work, to feel safe enough doing it with me, to feel safe enough trusting yourself to do it. Because if you just jump in day one, all right, let's go, like somatics, vagal toning, here we go, you're checklisting. You're not actually coming into it. And so we use titration, we take
Yes.
our time. And I always say, and I think I remember saying this to you, that your motivation or lack thereof is my problem. It's not yours. You're having a response, and it's my job as a coach to build that motivation in you, not your fault if you're not doing stuff. Resistance is data that tells us more information that we need about, okay, maybe we need to slow down here. Maybe we need to take a different approach. Maybe we need to do this approach, but, with different language or different, whatever. And you were equally as patient with me as I was with you as we figured out what is your sweet spot? What's exactly what you need to feel good? What does it look like? What does your routine look like? And then what does it look like when you move off a routine and actually start to integrate more of this work? Right. And so it really is this collaboration of patience and adaptation and testing and experimenting together. And it's why I could never imagine, a program that would just be like, everybody must follow exactly this formula and remedy. Even if you have structure, it's always going to look different for each person, right? Because you're all
Mhm.
different people. So yes, let's talk about that phase where you got into feeling. Talk to me more about that and how that looks. So you're coming out of freeze and dissociation. You're still having, times of it, right? And it ebbs and flows. It's not like we suddenly just like break. And now
Mhm.
you're feeling a bunch of stuff. And this is really where I feel like a huge level of expansion came in for you as well down the line, where it was like, whoa, like I can do whatever I want in life. Like, let's go.
Wow. So, first of all, something that looking back on and it constantly comes up in my mind is that my job had me so conditioned opposite of what this program teaches. So it's always go, 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 always busy. If you don't get the work done, it's a catastrophe, you know. So me just trying to decondition, like, oh, I'm not gonna get in trouble if I didn't read this module or I didn't do this or that. You know,
Yeah.
it's like you had to like I'm here for me, not anybody else. You know, this isn't another job. Like this is me to help myself out of this crisis I've been in. So when I finally had the courage to leave that career, thank you, thanks to your support,
Yeah, of
because
course.
I honestly I don't know where I'd be if I didn't meet you and have this program because it's been a lifeline. Like you just feel like you're navigating in the dark. You don't have any answers. And then you bring this rope and it's like, all right, I'm gonna hold on.
I'll do
And
it. Whatever. Let's go.
yeah. And it's not like you just enter with this like full understanding. Like
Mm-mm.
this, like you said, the titration, it's like I have moments of wow, understanding and I'm absorbing. And then, you know, I have my days where I allow myself to feel as uncomfortable as it may be. Instead of fearing it, it's like, okay, this is just part of the process. Let's do something sweet for myself.
Yeah.
Um, like let's go make a nest and just rest and relax.
Yeah.
My cats too. Um, but when I actually allowed myself to slow down, leaving my job, and which was very close to also the time that I was ending a long-term relationship, um, I started feeling like I started feeling a lot of things and I got really scared. Like I thought I was backtracking.
I remember
And
that.
right, I reached out to you because I just felt so uncomfortable. It's just like that moment when you feel you can't do anything. Like it just feels like the world's crumbling. And you helped me out of that situation because you responded with joy almost like just like, oh, this is great. Like you're like I know this is scary, but like
But you're
this
feeling
is
it.
what we're looking for. Yeah, you're feeling. And that like mind shift was everything too. Like, oh, wait, I don't have to fear this. I don't have to be scared. That was a huge turning point.
Huge. Yeah, absolutely. Because backsliding is such a big thing that we fear, this idea that we're just going to end up right where we started. And so we know the nervous system is predictive. The way it helps us survive is by trying to always predict what's coming next, right? Like right now you're trying to predict what will be my next question so you can answer appropriately, and you're doing this whole thing. And you base that prediction off of past data, past experience, right? Because that's all we really have. We can't see the future. And so the second a situation mimics even just slightly or maybe a lot, a situation we were in before we starting this work, we go, oh my God, I'm right back where I started. And
Yeah.
so a lot of this work and a testament to you and how much you stuck with me on this. And every day I'd be like, what are your wins? Like dig into what's different, look for what's different, look at the change, right? And I'm like a broken record, but it was so essential for you to see like, this feels similar, but there's a different hue to it. There's a nuance. There's something different going on here. I might not have the language for it yet, but I'm able to handle it better. I can hold more
Mm,
space for it. I'm not dissociating this time. I'm, crying and releasing, and I'm actually seeing that as a good thing as opposed to something that's like catastrophic because it means
mm,
that I'm expressing, right? And like anger, we got to express, like female rage
mm,
way too, kind of push down. And, we have to get angry, we have to get sad, we have to like let out and complete the cycles of all these emotions that we suppressed for so long, frankly, often to keep other people happy, right?
yeah.
Or, and in part because we were afraid of what we might be if we allowed them out, right? So much of this journey is expanding not only literally your capability to feel, but also expanding like who you're allowed to be in the world, how much space you're allowed to take up in the world, like what is appropriate for you, and to stop limiting yourself based off of like dumb societal standards and like people telling you you should be less than what you are, right?
Mm.
Ah. So talk to me about some of the benefits you've seen, realization. I mean, we've already kind of touched on these, right? But, today, right? I know you're a human. You're going to have ups and downs. You're going to have days where things are stressful. You're going through, a couple months out of an end of a longer relationship. You're just having that career shift. You're moving into what might my future look like, right? So you're in a big transitionary period. It would be freaking weird if you weren't having stress and ups and downs, right? But what's really beautiful, I think, is your ability to see them as temporary and to flow through them. And so I'm curious, during this time, what are some of the benefits of this work that you've seen or ways that you've seen this work supporting you in a lot of big life transition?
Well, one of the biggest things is just navigating the stress and seeing it differently because we can't not ever be stressed, right? Like
Totally.
it's just being able to support ourselves the right way through it. And there's so many modalities that has helped me during this time. Like the visualizations
Mm,
is like your imagination. For me, it was breaking me because I was always living in my head, always ruminating, and you kept pulling me out of that like, hey, why don't we practice like happy places, safe places? And that has become such a habit for me, especially when I'm feeling negative emotions.
yeah.
Um, and just practicing your senses too, like touch and smell and seeing things, like it brings you out of the opposite.
Yeah.
Yeah, just navigating the stress with these modalities and change of mindset is everything.
And one thing I've also seen you do a really great job of that I speak to, and you've shared like on our like community wall, and you've shared with me, is this idea of basking in joy. And we see so often that practitioners in the nervous system space or in the mental health and emotional health space have us sit in discomfort all the time, and they forget to like tell us to sit in joy, right? And like that is so foundational to our work. I always argue that honestly, I'd rather you do that more than I'd rather you sit in the discomfort, because it teaches your mind and your body that you are actually safe, that you can create safety despite what's coming up, that you can always find a landing point, and that you're not just one feeling of sadness or anger,
Yes.
faceted. And so, I've just seen you have these beautiful like glimmers, kind of these moments where you'll text me and be like, saw a nice rainbow, like sitting in that, like cuddling with my cat and like sitting in that. And that is literally you healing yourself in real time without having to always look at what's going wrong or what isn't okay, right? You're like, but look at this beautiful little thing right here, this moment of safety and presence that I can create and that I can really like seep in, right? Like really dig in there. And that is the power of conditioning ourselves more towards a somatic awareness and somatic registration of our emotions instead of just an intellectual one, right? Where we're actually able to like feel joy in the body as opposed to just naming the feeling of joy or naming the feeling of happiness. And it's subtle and it's intricate and it's a little like abstract if you're watching this and you're like, what the heck does that even mean? But it's powerful, right?
That is one of the biggest things for me, and a reminder whenever we would talk and you were building that, um when you were just building that habit into me to like open your eyes and see the good, bask in the joy, have a little dance party, you know. I think I remember you talking about petting the cats and just like really enjoying that moment, like, wow, they're so soft and this just feels really good. And that really helped me because as much as I might be feeling into like, ah, this feeling kind of sucks right now, I can also like look over and in that moment enjoy the soft touch of my cats,
Yes.
or just like the sun is shining outside and the clouds are so beautiful. Like just keep bringing your attention to moments of joy.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. And
Huge.
like, hear all these things about like brain retraining and rewiring the subconscious and all that. And it all sounds very fancy and like, you're just kind of like, what does that even mean? And that's literally it. We've trained your mind to choose to look towards what is joyful, supportive, safe. We've essentially trained your mind to find safety instead of find threat,
Mm,
right? And
yes.
that is like, that's it. Because if we are wired towards survival, to achieve creativity, expansion, joy, happiness, we got to feel safe enough first. And so if you, and that's kind of that's the whole thing. That's the whole big secret. If you can find safety and maintain that you are safe, and then of course in situations where you're not safe, you should feel dysregulated, like, survival situations and all that. But on a day to day when nothing's happening and you're just here, then you get all of these incredible benefits. You get to reap the benefits of having the clarity to start an entrepreneurship journey, of having the confidence to start that, of having the confidence to leave stuff that wasn't for you anymore, and feeling that no matter what, you've got you and you will be okay. Right. And I'm just so happy for you that, like, after all that you went through, that you came to that you're here now. Right. Even if you're still transitioning, you're still going through stuff, you're here and
Yeah.
you're like here for it, you're present for it, you're feeling it, and you're finding safety. I mean, it's just like literally incredible. I could cry. So tell me, to kind of wrap up, or I don't know, we'll see where this goes, but what is, if anything, I'm sure there is stuff that you would share with somebody who's considering joining this program specifically, maybe even just doing this work, right? Like it can feel scary to even consider doing nervous system work, but also working with me, working in the program. What might you say to them? Yeah, to give them hope, encouragement, or your own opinion about it.
I mean it when I say this is the best decision I've ever made in my life. Like this is life changing. Like I have this awareness for the rest of my life. Like there's no forgetting this. Um, so I think that anybody that feels scared, lost, super stressed out, like that's not a way to live forever. Like just cultivating that awareness that, hey, like I don't have to live so fast. I don't have to feel stressed. Not everything has to trigger me. This is the place to feel safe, to feel educated, in some capacity. Like you have the modules that help give that intellectual side. But then you also have that great balance of, hey, you can't rationalize yourself out of stress. Let's move into the body. Let's do somatic work. Um, Also your presence, yours and Emma's presence, as well as there's so many women that I've connected with in this program as well that have been going through the same thing. And it just feels like such a loving place of support. And yeah, I would go for it 100%.
I love that you shared that. I love that because it's a year-long program, it's a bigger financial investment. Like we know that it's a bigger ask, right? But we go gung-ho in this program, right? Like we are about the quality. We live up to the fact that that is the case, that you are coming and joining us for a while. You are putting in a big investment. We don't take that lightly. And I think you've just seen the returns of that, where instead of we're saying like 4 weeks, reset your nervous system and you're done, we're not kicking you to the curb and saying, well, good, go enjoy your roller coaster of your life and like, good luck, implement your tools. It's no longer stress management, right? We move off of that and into like, let's see you through those waves so that by the time you're done here, you're like, I freaking got anything. Like, throw it my way. Like, I got it, right? Like, we want to be here for your ups and downs so that it's so reinforced that you never have to do this work again. It's just
Yeah.
who you are, right?
I would love to say too on that the timing of everything, because I was in such a state of like, everything needs to be finished now. Go, go, go. I just had this feeling of this sense of urgency. Like I have to start my new business. I have to do this. I have to do that. And I was so goal focused. A lot of it had to do with fear, you know. But now I really see it, and thanks to you, because you're you first of all, you would remind me just the baby steps. We're just doing 1% every day, like just showing up a little bit every day, because that's what creates the bigger picture. You don't just become the bigger picture. And these little micro habits start, you just start showing up more and more. And so whether it's 6 months, a year, you're going to be regulated, right? But the journey and the character building is the most beautiful aspect of all of it. So no matter how much time it may take, and even the financial investment is nothing compared to the transformation that we experience in this. So I'm just finding the beauty in the timing of blooming and just evolving, instead of just like, I have to be at the end, I have to be better.
Yes.
So yeah.
Huge. That like we really in the beginning, we want to know like where exactly am I going to be exactly when? And
Yes.
by the end, as we transition into our growth journey, instead of just healing, we don't feel broken anymore. We don't feel like we're trying to escape ourselves, right? It starts to become like, wow, this is incredible. And like I'm enjoying so much the
Mm,
robustness of this experience and of this journey. And like anyone watching this who isn't there yet is like, F off. Like that sounds like it sucks. Like I just want to feel better. Like, and we hear that, we get it. But it's like so incredible that through this work and through this program, because of the way it's set up, you can get to that next step where it's not just about like literally not having certain symptoms or just feeling like you're able to like be okay. It's about like literally expanding into the best version of yourself and like all
yeah.
that you can be. And it's so miraculous, right? But first, just start by feeling better and then
Yeah.
all that stuff.
Yeah.
And that's what we always say, right? And I'm so glad that you get to be that support to newer clients because you've been there where they are, where they're just like, I just want to like not be bloated and exhausted all the time. And
Mhm.
then as they progress, you get to also be there when they're like, whoa, there's so much more in this than I could have ever realized. This is my ability to connect with other people, to show up present in my life, to like get all the things that I wanted. And it's just like awesome to see you reap the rewards of all the work that you've put in. And that's all you. That's all you, girl. You're the expert. I'm just a guy. I'm so
You
proud.
are an amazing guy. Like, seriously.
Amazing. Well, I'm so glad. And you were an amazing client and you continue to just like inspire me. And it's so gorgeous to be able to maintain relationships with all of my clients like for years and years. You know what I mean? And it's just a testament to how much we all grow together in this, and the safety that we create and the collaboration, right, that we create. And I'm just like, oh, I'm just so happy for you. I'm so proud of you.
I mean, I don't think there are really words for me to express like just truly how I feel and how grateful I am
Thanks
for
for
meeting you in this program. And it's just the
saying.
best experience ever. I don't know what else to say.
That's perfect. I think that's a pretty good testimonial. Thank you so much, Ash, for like just sharing and being open and vulnerable like you always are with our community, but doing this and showing up and just being here to like help other individuals gain hope. Like even if somebody watches this and they don't end up joining the program, they're like, okay, but there is something, there is a way that I can get better, right? It exists. And when I'm ready, I can find it and I can get there. And like you are a testament to that. And in doing that, you are now a healer, right? Like so much of this is like you guys become the healers because you model for other people in your lives, like, hey, we can get through this. We can do this. And I'm just like honored to be on that journey with you and that you allowed me to be there by your side.
I think also if people see this and they're not sure, they have to warm up to it. I truly believe it would plant the seed because you can do what I do, like exhaust all these other avenues, try to get something on paper, try to get a diagnosis, but it just comes back to this. Just, if you're super stressed out, you just need nervous system regulation. You need to have the tools to do it. So,
It's the foundation of everything, right? It is
yes,
our foundation of how we move through the world, how we think about ourselves, others, and how we show up, right? And that doesn't really sink in until we're there and we're like, oh shit, like this is it. This is what bleeds into every other thing. And it's all so interconnected. And we finally see ourselves as a holistic picture, right?
yes,
Awesome.
absolutely.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much for joining me, Ash. And I just know that this one is just going to be so helpful to so many women out there. And I adore you. And obviously, we'll catch up soon.